Alhamdulillah, we put, I think, 3 nights behind us, which went for the whole introduction. Now we're moving on to the actual good stuff. The last stage of this life and the first stage of the next life begins when? Begins in the moment of ihtidar. Okay? It's with a dad, or you can say ihtizar. Ihtidar comes from hudur, presence. And apparently they call it ihtidar is because all of a sudden, things that weren't present before, all of a sudden are now present around you. Okay, this is the last stage of this life. Who's present? People? No. Slowly, and death is present. You feel the presence of death and all the things that come with it. Ihtidar time. And they say this, brothers and sisters, is that moment where we are sorry, but we don't accept tawbah anymore. Tawbah was for when you were living and jumping up and down. Now is not the time. You could say that Fir'aun, he had this same moment. And he tried. And he tried, but he couldn't. Okay? Why? Why doesn't Allah accept someone's tawbah when it's ihtidar time? Because slowly the veils are going aside. You're seeing stuff now. Once you start seeing, it's not worth it anymore. Allah wanted you to, when you know it's there but you're not seeing it, act upon it. Okay? Now that you're actually seeing and feeling it, what good does it have? Tawbah is there so we can return to Allah and attain perfection. We're upset of what we've done. We ask Allah for forgiveness. This is tawbah. Okay. And it helps, it contributes to our perfection and our spiritual growth. Allah likes that. Allah likes that. But when you have seen everything, it has no value anymore. It has no spiritual growth in it for you. So now that it doesn't have spiritual growth in it for you, it's not accepted anymore. Allah says, I want tawbah for you to work. If it's not going to work, it has no value. They say Fir'aun in his final moments, when he was drowning in the sea, or in the Nile, he did tawbah. The verse. Let me read the verse for you. Surah Yunus, which is which surah of the Quran? Surah number 10. Verse 90. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وجاوزنا ببني إسرائيل البحر فأتبعهم فرعون وجنوده بغيا وعدوا حتى إذا أدركه الغرق قال آمنت أنه لا إله إلا الذي آمنت به بنو إسرائيل وأنا من المسلمين. You want translation, right? We helped the children of Israel cross the sea safely. Fir'aun and his army pursued the children of Israel with wickedness and hate until he was drowned. Okay? He starts drowning. What does he say? As he was drowning, Fir'aun said, I declare that there is no God but the one in whom the children of Israel believe, and I have submitted to the word of God. He's drowning. He knows it's over. He says, now I believe. Well, this belief is not going to contribute to your perfection and your spiritual growth. If we're not supposed to spiritually grow here, Allah, why is He going to bring us here in the first place? Why should Allah bring us into this world in the first place? If we're not going to attain any spiritual growth. Right? Some people say, why didn't Allah take us straight to heaven? Why did He bring us here? Because there's something in it for us. There was no choice but for Allah to bring us here, because perfection, and this is kind of philosophical, is attained through material means. Okay? Philosophical, we don't want to get into it. But what's for sure is we had to come into this world for that spiritual perfection. Okay, if there's no spiritual perfection in it for me, then why should it count? Allah says, you are returning to me, but there is no return because it's over. There is no spiritual growth in this return of yours. So it doesn't count. You had your chance. And it's interesting. I think I saw a hadith once that said, Prophet Musa alayhi salam said that if Fir'aun had said, I believe in Allah, the Lord of the worlds, Allah would have accepted his repentance. But please pay attention to the wording here. He doesn't say, Amantu billah, or Amantu bi Rabbi Musa, the Lord of Musa. He doesn't say it like that. He still has the arrogance so instilled in him. Look at the words. He says, I declare that there is no God but the one in whom the children of Israel believe. Come on, what is wrong with you? You're dying here, you're drowning here, you know He's there, but you still are so arrogant that you can't even use proper wording, show some respect. I believe in the person that those people believe in. He doesn't say, my Lord, the Lord of the people, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And that's why he gets offended when Musa comes. He tells Musa, tell me about your Lord. He says, my Lord is the one who created the heavens, the earth. He says all this good stuff, and Fir'aun doesn't like what he hears. There's some things, brothers and sisters, you got to be careful about. Arrogance, oof. Shaitan was kicked out because of his arrogance. You got to be careful. Especially in the face of your good Muslim brothers and sisters. Arrogance down. In the face of your parents, na'udhu billah. Remember on day one, we had that story of the Prophet. He was doing talqeen to a young person who was dying. He was telling the youth, telling him, say la ilaha illallah. He couldn't say it. He said, where's the mother of this kid? They said, she's the mother. The mother said, I'm not happy with him. The talqeen of the Prophet is doing no good because he is arrogant in the face of his parents, his mother. Na'udhu billah. I stressed on this before. I won't go back to it. Anyway, tawbah is not accepted. Why? Because it doesn't contribute to our spiritual perfection. And then when we say seeing things, you start seeing things, veils go up. Please, don't be very simple and say, oh, then that's not true, because lots of people are also standing around the person who is now passing away and is an ihtidar. Don't say that. Why don't they see that things that he sees? Brother, sister, this whole materialistic approach to things, that I believe in what I see, I believe in what I feel, this kills iman. This kills iman. It goes back to that worldview that I was talking about. Verse number 2 is it? 3 of Surah Baqarah, right there in the beginning. Alif Lam Mim ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. They believe in the ghaib, the unseen. That means we have to believe in everything that we don't see, even though we don't believe in it, even though we haven't seen it. Yes, if you know it's there, you can believe in it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I'm here, I am the ghaib. We believe in Him. The verse isn't saying, just go believe in something that doesn't exist. No. The verse is saying, just because it's unseen, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because it's unseen doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want. You cannot believe in it. No. Unseenness doesn't cause any problems in us believing in something. But now let's see what exactly can be seen during ihtidar time. We've moved into the stages of death, brothers and sisters. The last stage of this life, the first stages of that life. Okay? And once again, don't say this life, that life. It's all one life, brothers and sisters. You're just shedding some skin. That's all you're doing. Shedding that shell of yours off. But who do we go to know what we see and what we don't see during ihtidar time? Well, we take out a telescope or an electron microscope and we look around when someone's dying to see what he's seeing. No, see, once again, that worldview that I was talking about, what happened? Aren't you listening? Aren't you listening? The worldview says, listen, it's not something that you can see. With microscope, without microscope, whatever. No, you can't. Because it's immaterial. What is going on in those final moments? So who's supposed to tell us? A hadith. If a hadith tells us something in this regard, we take it. If we don't have hadith for something in this regard, there's no way we can gauge and find out what's going on. Can't tell. So a hadith are the things that tell us these unseen matters. And that's how cool Ahlul Bayt, this whole concept of Ahlul Bayt and Prophet are. They have special ilm. Anyway, There's 5 or 6 things that I've listed here according to a hadith that I'll go through one by one. Number 1, they say this person when he's dying, to an extent he can tell where his place is in heaven and hell, or hell, na'udhu billah. Okay? He gets an idea of what's going to happen. Right there from the start. Have you heard that when someone passes away before the day of resurrection, even those stages leading to the day of judgment will either be punishment for that person or will be what? A form of reward for that person. Even in the barzakh, we call it the barzakh. That in-between time between our death and the Yawm al-Qiyamah, and the day of judgment. Okay? That itself can be a Jannah for you, can be a Jahannam for you. This itself is one of the rewards or punishments. When that person passes away right then and there, he sees his spot in heaven or hell to an extent, they say, not completely. So if it's a good place, from there he's happy. From right there from the start, there's this happiness that he has in himself, this hope. But on the other hand, this person who passes away, who was not good to his parents, to his brothers and sisters, bullied. Guys, bullying is not good. Karbala was full of bullies. Just because you have a better phone doesn't mean you have to show it to the person next to you in a way that they feel like, oh, I wish I had that. No. We can't compromise our akhirah because of these petty things. He sees his spot there and he rejoices. He's happy. This is something that will help him be hopeful in the grave. That's one. And then they say, Imam Salih, there's a hadith from Imam Salih alayhi salam, that this person, when he sees his spot, he asks those in charge, I don't know who's in charge then, but he asks, can I go back and let my family know where I'm going, where I'm headed? Okay, we'll talk about this a little bit, because in the barzakh, in that in-between stage, it's like you're like half here, half there. You still see your family sometimes. They don't see you. You see them though. Sometimes people who pass away after you, they'll come and bring you news. Some ahadith tell us this. It's interesting. They come and bring you news that this is what your family is doing right now. That's your son grew up, got married, stuff like that. It's interesting. So it is a life. It is a life there also that we have to know about. Get ready for it. Why just this life? We've got a life here. We've got a life in barzakh. Different stages too in barzakh. And then we have life in akhirah. All of this is life. Life is good. So we have to know about it, learn about it, so we can look forward to it, work for it. Right? Unlike those people who, as I said, that have the non-Islamic worldview, death is it's over, no more life after it. So they're not going to work for it. But since we know it's there, we're going to work for it. All the good stuff. Imam Sadiq says they say, can I go back and let my family know? And then the hadith says that they say, no, you can't. You're cut off completely. You can't. But it's interesting. He becomes happy. He sees his spot. He gets all happy. He says, I want to let my family know. They say another thing that you see is the angels line up. The angel of death and his subordinates, they line up for you. If you're a good person, it's one way. If it's a bad person, it's another way. The angels, you see the angels. You see the ma'soomeen. Number 3. There's hadith that says that for sure everybody, kafir, Muslim, everybody will see the Prophet and Imam Ali alayhi salam. They will see these two for sure. And I'm going to open a parenthesis here. Okay? In parentheses, these near-death experiences that they have sometimes, some people, and they say, I felt so good, I saw something, that this light and everything, and they interpret it, every person interprets it differently. One of these scholars in Qom, he had a very nice way of explanation for this. He used to say that even these people who are non-Muslim, when they're passing away, they have a near-death experience. When they see that beautiful face, okay, they don't know it. This is the face of Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam. They see it up to there, but since they're coming back to the dunya, they don't see after that. Allah is showing everybody the face of Amir al-Mu'mineen to say, listen, this is what you were aiming for. Let's see how close you got to this. I sent you to this dunya. This was your ultimate goal right here. You see it, and you're just blown away. Some people, they don't see the rest because they come back to the dunya. The rest, this alim was saying, he says the rest goes like this. After you see that, then they show you yourself how close you are to this. A lot of people are far from that. But this person, since he had a near-death experience, didn't make it all the way, he doesn't get to that point where he sees what he himself is. He's sent back to the dunya again. So they see that light, they're happy, it's very nice, it's beautiful. But they don't know what happened really. They have another chance, they don't know it. This hadith explains some things, because sometimes people say, if this person was non-Muslim, then why is he having a good time on the other side? Right? And it causes doubt for them, seriously. All these people saying that, yes, if you're not Muslim, you pass away, it's going to be hard on you. And then all of a sudden we have reports like this. Of course, that parenthesis is now closed. Let's open another parenthesis. Because this is something that sometimes eats away at the mind of our youth. This question that, is it true that every person, any person who's not Muslim will go to hell? And every single person who's Muslim will go to heaven? But I have friends, I have teachers that are not Muslim. They're better than Muslims even sometimes in practice. Some ulama, when they go to, some of the great ulama in the past, they said sometimes we go to Western countries, we see Islam, we don't see Muslims. We go to Muslim countries, we see Muslims, but we don't see Islam. Because Islam, you have the name and label of Islam, and then you have the practice of Islam. Islam has to be practiced. Okay, just because you're a Muslim, but you cheat, steal, lie, and every now and then add a pinch of interest and haram interest to your money, and that's not being Muslim. That's you are a Muslim by name, but you're not Muslim. Anyway, people ask this. I know this person. He has never harmed an ant. She has never harmed an ant. Much better than many Muslims. I said, this person is going to hell. This was a question I had when I was a kid. What's the answer? There is no answer. Personally, for me, there is no answer. The answer is this for me. What convinces me is that no, I cannot draw the line with Islam. Anyone who's Muslim this side, anyone who's non-Muslim, hatman, we have this in Urdu now, hatman, for sure, is on that side. Hell, for sure. Non-Muslim, hell, for sure. Because we have a concept of istid'af in the Quran. Al-mustad'afina min ar-rijal, it's called in the Quran. Which means those people who the truth hasn't reached completely. The truth hasn't reached them completely. Allah is flexible with them. Seriously, I mean, it doesn't sound fair. A person who hasn't heard the truth, if I tell you guys, brothers and sisters, Buddhism is the way. See, he laughed. Because you have to laugh at that. It's funny, because Buddhism is not the way for me. Buddhism is not, because I don't even think twice about going towards, I don't think again about going towards, I don't know what the expression is, going towards Buddhism. I will never contemplate that. For me, it's batil for sure, because it doesn't believe in a God. Mainstream Buddhism doesn't believe in a God. Some of them say we do, but mainstream doesn't believe in it. I won't even consider going after something like that. So the people who are not Muslim, same thing. Constantly the media is showing all this violence, giving us a bad name. We're making mistakes. Unfortunately, the Muslim Ummah is making mistakes, giving a bad image to Islam. Some people won't even think about going towards Islam. They don't hear it. They don't hear the truth. So these people go to hell. What I do know is this though. We can't judge, okay? Brothers and sisters, don't go around saying, Shaykh said every non-Muslim goes to heaven. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, we don't know. Really, we don't know. These are things that have to do with Allah's mercy. We do not know. All we do know is one. There is a concept of istid'af, which means If a person, the truth didn't reach him, he's not responsible for it. So responsibility is what counts. Not Islam and non-Islam, Muslim, non-Muslim. No, that's not what counts. What counts is how responsible one can be held for neglecting the truth or accepting the truth. Yes. If a person feels that there is some truth in Islam, then yes, they're responsible to an extent to go look into it. If a person knows that Islam is the way but turns away from it, as we have some examples of some brothers and sisters that are reverts, sometimes when they share their stories, they say, I knew Islam is the path, but I didn't want to become Muslim so quick because I could not let go of, for example, liquor. And I knew if I become Muslim, I have to practice this ruling. Okay? And I have to stay away from it, so I put it off a little bit. One of the great figures during the Prophet's time made this mistake. He was one of the greats of, I think, Quraysh. He knew Islam is the way, and I think he had said that I'm going to become Muslim. But give me some time to, have some fun first. And he died eventually a mushrik. Before he got the chance. He was old. Before he got the chance to switch, he passed away. For people like that, it's a different story probably. But for a person the truth hasn't reached, or has reached not to an extent that he can be held responsible, we don't know. We don't know. What we do know is istid'af, one. We know number two is that I know that this is the path and I'm on it right now. What am I doing for myself? Don't let it get to you, brothers and sisters. Don't let it get to you thinking about, what's going to happen to them and stuff like that. Sometimes it takes too much of our energy, our brain power, our time, thinking about this. Agha, you know that you're on the right path? Yes. Then Bismillah. You know that you have to watch out for yourself, don't you? Yes. Bismillah. Traverse it. Traverse this path. For me, I know what's going to be my hell and heaven. So I have to watch out. Other people, I don't know. Really, we can't say for sure. Recite salawat. And close that parentheses in your mind. So that's two parentheses. Important points. I didn't want to talk about them, I think, but they came out. Anyway. Seeing the ma'sumin. So those two everyone will see. And the ahadith say the rest of the ma'sumin is for the mu'mineen to see. For good people, this is also a reward. This is also a reward for good people. Seeing the Ahlul Bayt, seeing the ma'sumin. There's another hadith again by our sixth Imam, where he says that the mu'min, they will tell him when he's passing away, he's struggling not to, and he's wailing and crying, I don't want to leave this world. And if he's a mu'min, the angel of death, or whichever angel that's responsible, will tell him, look around you. Instead of crying like a baby, closing your eyes, open your eyes, look around you. This is Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam standing watching you. Imam al-Hussein, Imam al-Sajjad, do you still not want to come? That's when they say the mu'min says, take me. Take me. But for the bad people, this is a punishment when they see ma'sumin. Why? Because they say, you see these people, these individuals, can't have any of this. This itself is a punishment for the bad people. Plus, we have even worse. Those who were the enemies of Ahlul Bayt, they say on the Day of Judgment, on the Day of Judgment, what happens is, there will be a breeze. Some of them are put into caskets of fire. All of a sudden, a breeze blows by. They ask the angels, the keepers of the hellfire, they say, this breeze that just blew, what was this breeze? They say, Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam has just entered the mahshar. This breeze came from him. This Imam Ali is so much nur that his nur even benefits the bad, his enemies. But this is the part that's bad. And this arrogance, brothers and sisters, you got to watch out for it when I say it. I'm talking to myself first and foremost. This arrogance, the hadith says, doesn't allow them to accept. And they say, if it's from Amirul Mu'mineen, if it's from Ali ibn Abi Talib, we don't want this breeze. Put us back in the caskets. How can someone reach this stage? Well, inshallah, we won't reach this stage. We cry for Abu Abdullah. One who weeps for Abu Abdullah cares for him. Abu Abdullah cares so much that sometimes it hurts when he cares for you. You know why? I don't know how many of you have gone to Karbala. Alhamdulillah, year after year the numbers are increasing. But most of us probably have gone, of the older brothers and sisters. Many people experience this in the haram of Abu Abdullah. When they walk in, they're just baffled. They just stand there and look. This is Abu Abdullah, the person that I have wept for all my life. My mother, when she was nursing me, she nursed me with the name of Abu Abdullah on her tongue. That's why I sit in his majalis. And when you reach there, you say, now's the time to show my love for him. Show how much I'm upset. How much I can weep for him. All of a sudden, when you walk in, you feel you're upset. Why? Because you can't. The greatness of Abu Abdullah doesn't let you. Scholars and ulama, they say, no, it's Lady Zainab is there and she calms the zuwar of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The love is too much sometimes that it hurts. This person is upset. They come to you, they ask you, what's wrong with me? No, nothing's wrong with you. Abu Abdullah is too good. Lady Zainab is too good. Because if you're going to mourn in the haram and you want to do justice, then you have to kill yourself. I'm sorry. If you're not going to do that, then at least stand there. Look at the tarih, look at the zari. Whenever Abu Abdullah gives you permission, it will come. Don't think that right when you walk in, it has to happen. Okay? For some, it's a punishment. For some, it's not. Because they had arrogance. Inshallah, we won't have this arrogance. But brothers, this is a warning. The Quran says, ثُمَّ كَانَ عَاقِبَةَ الَّذِينَ أَسَاءُوا السُّوءَ أَنْ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. Brothers and sisters, yes, we're never going to, inshallah, become enemies of Ahlul Bayt. But the Quran says, the fate of those who did bad deeds was that they denied Allah's signs. He didn't deny Allah's signs from the start. But the guna, the sinning, slowly eats away at your iman, brothers and sisters. Hadith says that sin is like a sharp knife that just cuts through meat. It cuts through your iman. Slowly when iman goes out one door, what comes in through the other door? Takdhibu ayatillah. The signs of Allah are neglected, are denied. We don't want to get to that point. Number 4. Number 4. The shayateen. The shayateen are also there. It's their last minutes that they can do what they want to do. Okay? The brothers might know this. After like 12 years, I hadn't watched... when I was a kid, we watched basketball and stuff. It was like the first NBA finals of my life after 12 years. I had come back last year. And that game 6, if you saw it or not, the last minutes, they destroyed themselves to win the game and they won the game. Right? It's interesting, if you watch even basketball, to be able to draw religious conclusions from it. You know, that's what happens when you talk too much about Islam. Everything you see takes on this color of Islam. But the point is, for the shayateen, brothers and sisters, it's game 6. They push their hardest in those last moments. If shaitan couldn't care less about you and throughout your life, in those final moments, he will send his boys after you to make sure they get a piece of you. Okay? And it's interesting, shaitan really doesn't care about us. I'm sorry. Doesn't care about us. Let me relate a story. These stories keep hitting me, so I feel it's a waste if I don't say them. I don't know if we'll even get through the whole topic, but let's see where it goes, inshallah. There's this great alim. One of the ulama that I think it's the Sheikh, the late Sheikh Murtada al-Ansari, who has written many books, if I'm not mistaken. It might be someone else. Anyway, one of the great ulama, nonetheless. He says, in my dream, I see shaitan. Okay? In my dream, I see shaitan, and he has like all these ropes and chains and stuff dragging them. Some of them maybe strings. So he's got all these things. And I ask him, what are these? What are these that you're dragging along with you? He says, these are the chains that I throw on the necks of those whom I want to deceive and pull them towards me. So you see, some of these are chains, some of these are ropes, strings. He says, like, with these thicker ones, what's up with that? He says, these are for the ones who have higher iman. They don't come that easy. I have to use special forces here. Special ropes and chains here. And interesting, look at this. This alim says, I asked shaitan, where's my rope? Where's my rope? And then shaitan says, are you kidding me? You don't need a rope. I called you and you come. Shaitan can care less about us, brothers and sisters. But if we've done our job right, in those final moments, he sends his boys. He might even give you the honor of coming himself. What we have to do is, as long as we have a fortress, we don't worry if there's an enemy. The enemy, the fortress, they can't breach that fortress. It's when you have little holes here and there, weak points and vulnerable points here and there in your little fortress, that's when it's dangerous. Okay? When the inner enemy, when you have an inner enemy helping, the outer enemy can do damage. But if you don't have an inner enemy, then you're good to go. There's nothing to worry about. That's what this life is for. This life is for us to keep growing and growing spiritually, so that when the time comes, we don't have any of these holes where they can come in through. No more vulnerable points. But what those exactly are, what we have to do, inshallah, this is one of the main topics that I'm going to talk about, practical, what we have to do. What we have to do, inshallah, for later. Shayateen come, it's their game 6. They say it's good to recite Surah Yasin and Surah Safat for this though, to get rid of the shayateen. If someone is passing away, brothers and sisters, they say Surah Yasin, Surah Safat, the hadith tell us this. We don't know, we can't tell. If it was up to us, we don't know which surahs to read. But the hadith tell us Surah Yasin, Surah Safat are good. There's a dua, brothers and sisters, they say read it once in your lifetime. It's in Mafatih al-Janan. It's called Dua al-Adila. I don't know how many of you heard of it. Dua al-Adila is a dua in which, in that dua, you are expressing all of your beliefs. They say recite this at least once in your lifetime. Okay? So that this is sort of instilled in you. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, what counts is something else that we're going to talk about in the future. Some people, they get all caught up in these details. Okay, 150 times this dhikr. 25 times do I have to do this? Let's recite this surah, this surah. While they're lacking in the most important thing, which is the core and base of our salvation. We'll talk about it, inshallah, in the future. But these things, a hadith have talking about. And then what else does this person see when he's passing away? He sees his actions, his wealth, and his children. They manifest in front of him. Okay? They manifest. The essence of them manifests in front of him. He sees something else. And it's a hadith, it's a very cool hadith, that he tells this symbol of his children and this symbol of his wealth, what symbolizes them, that he's seeing. He tells his wealth, all my life, I spent my whole life for you, O wealth, to attain you. How much time, how much effort. Now what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me? The wealth says, I will buy you a kafan. You guys know what kafan is, right? The shroud. I can't, the wealth, says, I would do something for you more, but I can't. I'm sorry, that's all I can do. I will for sure get you a kafan. Okay, thank you. So I spent my whole life for this. Does that mean that I'm not supposed to go after wealth? No, I talked about this other nights. I have to go after it, but priorities. Do I prioritize with my wealth first? No, I don't give it the priority. Because I know in the end, when I ask it, I did all this for you, what are you going to do for me? It's going to turn back and look at me and it's going to say, I'm going to buy you a kafan. I could have bought myself a kafan. This is symbolic of what? Of how much importance we should give to this. Then why do you go to wealth if it's not so? Because Ahlul Bayt told me to go after wealth. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, He was working in the field. If I'm not mistaken, it was Imam al-Hasan or Imam al-Sadiq, one of these two. Working in the field, a man comes up to him and says to him, if you pass away in this state of paying attention to the dunya, giving precedence to dunya and wealth, working in the field to make money, right? If you die in this state and you meet your grandfather, the Prophet, in this bad state, what are you going to tell him? How are you going to feel? This is parentheses. This hadith is in parentheses. The Imam says, I will be meeting my grandfather in the best of states, because I won't be in need of a person like you, who looks at the world like this, who talks to me like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, go work, make some money, so that you don't need other people. Because when you need other people, haram happens. You fill your stomach with haram, you stand in the face of the Hussein of your time. So it's all about priorities. Not that it's bad and icky. No. Wealth is not bad and icky. Giving it priority is very, very bad. Because it's going to look at you and it's going to say, I buy you kafan. He looks at that symbol. It symbolizes his children. He says, okay, I spent my entire life for wealth so that I could support you. I did this for you. What are you going to do for me? The children look at him again. They say, we're going to carry you to your grave and put you in your grave. With respect, of course. But I want more. No, we can't do more. I mean, if we could, we would, but we can't. That's it. That's all we can do. And then he looks at his actions that have also manifested. He looks at them, he says, what about you? They say, we're going to be with you forever. The wealth is for the kafan. The children are for carrying you to the grave. These two go after their own business after that. But the actions say, we are going to be with you forever. This puts things into perspective. So another thing they say that when one is passing away, sees, is his actions, his wealth, and his children. Okay? Wake up call for all of us. But then there's a question now. I won't get into the answer. I'm just going to pose it to you, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night, because I don't want to go over my time. How much time do I have? Okay, 20 minutes is good. Let's do this. Let's see how Imam Ali alayhi salam illustrates all of this ihtidar that we talked about. How does he illustrate it? Recite salawat. I said all of this, but when you go to Nahj al-Balagha, it's something else. Nahj al-Balagha is one of those Qur'an as-Sa'id that I was talking about the other night. Those ascending Qur'ans that I was talking about. Don't go saying Shaykh believes in that there's more than one Qur'an. Ascending Qur'an, I explained it the other night. Imam Ali alayhi salam's sermon 108. Now, I was going to tell brothers and sisters to go and read the sermon, but you know you're not going to do that. Right? So, I wrote it all in English right here on this paper, because I don't believe in digital stuff. Old school. I wrote it down. Because in the worst moments, it fails you. It's happened before. Anyway. Yeah. I'm going to start from the middle, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning of it. There's a reason for that. So 3 dots, meaning that there's something before this. Imam Ali is telling us about people who are passing away. What does he say? I hope I can wrap it up. I'll read a little fast. Please follow with me. He says, whatever they were ignoring, these people who are passing away, they were ignoring things in their lifetime. They would hear it, ignore it. Whatever they were ignoring has befallen them. Separation from this world from which they took themselves safe has come to them, and they have reached that in the next world which they had been promised. So they were feeling all secure and stuff here. All of a sudden they're separated, and now they're going to what they had been promised and they were ignoring. Whatever has befallen them cannot be described. Pains of death and grief. Please don't lose hope. I'm going to get to the good parts too. Pains of death and grief for losing this dunya. See, it's not pain of punishment. Losing this dunya have surrounded them. Okay, this person is passing away. He sees it's going to happen. I am going to be separated. And this brings pain and anguish. Because everything for him is this dunya. Everything, his priority. Consequently, their limbs become languid. And their complexion changes. Languid, I don't know, it probably means like they become like loose. Or like they lose feeling and numb. It becomes numb or something. Probably something like that. Am I right? Inshallah. So this person now, he sees that the dunya is separating. Now his limbs become numb. He can't move them around that much anymore. His complexion, his face color starts changing. Then death increases its struggle over them. It stands in between him and his power of speaking. Although he lies among his people. Looking with eyes, hearing with his ears, with full wits and intelligence. He sees, he hears, but he can't speak anymore. He has to say the astaghfirullah before this happens. The Quran says we would call them to sujood, but they wouldn't do it when they were salim, when they were healthy and sound. Now is not the time to do sajda. Sajda was for before when you were sound. Now you've lost. He has full intelligence. He then thinks over how he wasted his life and in what endeavors he passed his time. He recalls the wealth he collected when he had blinded himself in seeking it and acquired it from fair and foul sources. Dunya isn't bad, brothers and sisters. Dunya that comes from foul and fair sources. Halal and haram, both. We mix it up, it's all good. Okay? Inshallah, Allah will forgive. No. Imam Ali says, this person, see? I said the good parts are coming. Not the person who's in love with dunya per se, but a person who would stop at anything, would stop at nothing, even if it was haram means to attain this dunya. This person is now upset. Foul and fair sources, no difference. Now the consequences of collecting it have overtaken him. He gets ready to leave it all. Imam Ali Nahj al-Balagh is saying this. It will remain for those who are behind him. He leaves this world. People come take his place, his inheritors, his heirs. They come and inherit all of it. This wealth is just like easily goes from him to the rest. They fight over it. They split it up. Whatever. He has to pay the price because he's the one who attained it, collected it through haram means. He gets ready to leave it all. It will remain for those who are behind him. They will go on to enjoy it and benefit from it. It is an easy acquisition for others, but a burden on his back that he cannot get rid of. Thereupon he will bite his hands out of regret for what was what was disclosed to him about his affairs at the time of his death. He will hate what he longed for in the dunya. Man, I want this. Man, I want that. I want this. In a way that it's priority over akhirah. The same thing that he was in love with, now he hates with his guts. He will hate what he longed for during the days of his life and will wish that he who envied him on account of it, so cool, and felt jealous over him for it, could have amassed it instead of him. So sometimes we're walking around, right? And we know that some people, they wish that they had my kicks. They had my ride. They had what I have. We know this. Alright? Who are we kidding? But this person says, I wish in the dunya, those people who longed for what I have, who envied me because of what I have, they're the ones who actually had what I had, and I didn't have it. Death will go on affecting his body till his ears too will become like his tongue. They lose functioning. Now he can't hear anymore. He could hear and see, he couldn't speak. Now he can't speak, he can't hear. But he sees. So he will lie among his people, neither speaking with his tongue, nor hearing with his ears. Imam Ali has to tell us this, or else we don't know what's going on. He will be rotating his glance over their faces, watching the movements of their tongues. He sees they're saying things, jumping up and down, upset, but he can't hear what they're saying anymore. but not being able to hear what they are saying. Death will then increase again its sway over him, and his sight will be taken by death as his hearing had been taken, and his spirit will depart his body. He will then become a corpse among his own people. They will be frightened from him and stay away from him. At this moment, in this state, no mourner can help him and no one can answer him. They can carry him to his final destination and leave him there to his deeds and never see him again. This is Imam Ali illustrating for us the stuff that I talked about that we see. Imam Ali very nicely puts it. This is what's going to happen. Does this not strengthen our Islamic worldview? Doesn't it? It doesn't strengthen it? It does. What was the Islamic worldview? To prioritize the way we're supposed to prioritize. Give priority to what's supposed. If this is the end. But who is Imam Ali talking about here? Because he speaks in a scolding manner. Is it anybody who was after dunya and stuff? No, he explains. This sermon is talking about those who were slaves of the dunya. Because why? Before this, he says this, Imam Ali. Before this bit that I read for you right now, before it, he says this. I wanted to get your attention first. He says, when one loves a thing, it blinds him and sickens the heart. He sees but with a diseased eye. Okay? Everything is normal, but if you have shades on, you see everything with a shade. You don't see everything in its true color. This person has a disease. That's why he sees things differently. He sees but with a diseased eye, hears but with unhearing ears. Desires have destroyed his wit. His aql is gone because of desires. And the dunya has made his heart dead, while his mind is all longing for it. Consequently, he is a slave of it, and of everyone who has any share of the dunya, he's a slave of that person too. Umar ibn Sa'd was a slave of Yazid. Why? Because they told him, we'll give you Ray. Ray, you can take care of Ray, is yours. The city of Ray is yours. They had a share of the dunya, he became their slave. This is the people Imam Ali is talking about. Whenever it turns, he turns towards it. Whenever it proceeds, he proceeds towards it, the dunya. He is not desisted by any desister from Allah. Everyone tells him, be careful, be careful. You're pushing it a little too much. Doesn't listen. Nor takes admonition from any preacher. He sees those who have been caught in neglect, how they were taken from it. He sees people who had the best, had everything, how they had to leave it, but he doesn't take heed. He does not take heed. What's a good story that embodies all of this? The story of Qarun. Nabi Musa had an enemy. His name was Qarun, one of his enemies. He was part of Bani Israel though, from what I remember. But nonetheless, this man was so wealthy. He was so wealthy that the keys, the Quran says this, the keys of his treasure chests were so heavy that a group of men had to carry the keys. Ma inna mafatihahu latanu'u bil usba. The Quran says. The mafatih, the keys of those chests, had to be carried by several people. That's how rich he was. But he turned away. He said, I was the one who attained all of this. Allah has no share in it. The people said, be careful what you're saying. Be careful. Didn't listen. It goes on, the story goes on until he really gets on Allah's nerves. Allah has to punish him. Allah has to punish him. And what's interesting is that, look at the line that Prophet Musa and the people tell him. They say, وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الْآخِرَةِ. Allah has given you all this wealth, it's alright. Buy the akhirah with this wealth. Wealth isn't bad per se. Buy the akhirah. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Don't forget your share of the dunya too. It's okay, there's a share for you. The Quran is saying. The Quran is saying. But Qarun said, no, all of it. And this is everything for me. I will turn my back on Allah. I'm the one who إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ. I did it because I knew what to do, not Allah. Allah didn't help me getting this. That's why the Quran says, the earth opened up its jaws, swallowed him. خَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ. We pulled him in. We seek refuge in Allah from all of this. Inshallah, we'll continue with ihtidar and the next stages of death, inshallah, tomorrow night. Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah. Brothers and sisters, there's one individual that isn't commemorated very much in Muharram. I thought it was a good idea to talk about him a little bit. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he has a weak point. His weak point, as I said before maybe, are the orphans. That's his weak point. If you don't know what I mean, go raise an orphan yourself, and then when that orphan sits in your lap and thank you uncle for taking me in. When no one was ready to take me in, you took me in. Let that orphan come sit in your lap after a few years of raising him, and then see that orphan fall on the ground and hurt him and get hurt. Then you'll see what Aba Abdullah is so sensitive about this orphan. They say that when he was leaving Medina, he didn't take any orphans with him. He didn't want to. But they came along with him. They didn't desert their Imam. Who are these orphans that I'm talking about? Qasim ibn al-Hasan and Abdullah ibn al-Hasan, the nephews of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. They're orphans. But there's a difference here. Qasim, we'll get to Qasim inshallah. There's a 10, 11-year-old, you 10, 11-year-olds in the audience, listen carefully. There's a 10, 11-year-old orphan in Karbala by the name of Abdullah ibn al-Hasan. We want to go and knock his door tonight. Do tawassul to Abdullah ibn al-Hasan. Oh Abdullah, you were 11 years old, but you are the master of all of us. Orphans are Imam Hussein's weak spot. That's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to put Imam Hussein in ultimate pressure, you'll see that orphans come in, children come into the picture. Imam Hussein has given his Ali in al-Asghar. Imam Hussein has now fallen on the ground of Karbala. Allah sees that Hussein is dragging himself. Hussein, are you ready? I want to give you more. It's not enough. If I don't give this, if I don't give it to you, who am I supposed to give it to? Who am I supposed to put under this pressure to carry this message, to ensure that this message stays alive for as long as time exists? This story of Aba Abdullah exists. Hussein, are you ready? I want to put another burden. I want to poke at that weak spot a little bit more. That's why the tragedy, you can say, of Abdullah ibn al-Hasan is one of the highest tragedies. Because as the tragedies grew in Ashura, Aba Abdullah, he gets more and more radiant. More nur comes from his face. Aba Abdullah, the final test after Abbas, after Ali and al-Asghar, when the time has come for you to come to me. But before that, I want to give you one more hardship, Aba Abdullah. Because I love you, Aba Abdullah. Brothers and sisters, if Allah gives you hardship, don't think that Allah doesn't love us. If Allah would give hardship to people He doesn't love, then why does Lady Zainab have to go through so much hardship? Why does Aba Abdullah have to go through so much hardship? But Allah knows his weak spot. That's why the final test is an orphan of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. The night before, Qasim had gotten his reward. Qasim, you will become shaheed too. Qasim goes back to the tent, he's happy. Abdullah is a 10, 11-year-old. He looks at his brother. He sees, my brother is shahada tomorrow. Abu Abdullah is going tomorrow. Abu al-Fadl Abbas is going tomorrow. My father left me when I was a kid. 1 or 2 years old, he left me. Why should I stay in this world? Abdullah ibn al-Hasan has no reason to stay in this world after Abu Abdullah. My brother gets shahada. I don't get shahada. You feel like throughout the night, this is eating away at Abdullah. He's not a normal 10, 11-year-old, brothers and sisters. This is the son of Hassan, the lion of Allah. Imam al-Hasan, a reflection of his father. You can tell that Imam al-Hasan has passed on what he had when Qasim says, it's sweeter than honey to me. That's why you feel like Ashura, this is eating away at Abdullah, that he's not going to be one of them. Slowly, slowly, he sees shuhada one by one are coming. No one told me, and no one is telling me that I'm going to become shaheed. Eventually, in those final moments when Allah wants to test Abu Abdullah, He sends Abdullah. The lady Zainab is watching from the Tal of Zainabiyya. She's looking down on Hussein. They see she's holding the hand of Abdullah. Abdullah sees that it's over. Hussein is leaving too. I can't stay. He rushes from Zainab, rushes down the hill to his uncle. Wallah, la ufariqu ammi. I will not let my uncle go. They're closing in on Abu Abdullah. They bring down the sword. He comes to protect his uncle. His arm is cut, is hanging by the skin. Abu Abdullah has had seen enough tragedies. Why, Abdullah? Why did you come? I told Zainab to take care of you. Oh, Hussein, I can't leave you. After you, who do I have? He falls on the chest of Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah is holding him like a little bird just flapping its wings and dying. Abdullah is screaming in pain. Hussein has to go through this test. That's when Harmala comes and finishes the job. They say Harmala comes. Abu Abdullah is holding this child. Be patient, my son. Be patient, my nephew. All of a sudden, the arrow lands on Abdullah. The final scenes that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein has to see is Abdullah to die in his arms. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ نَسْأَلُكَ اللَّهُمَّ وَنَدْعُوكَ باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله 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 يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج والعافية والنصر واجعلنا من خير أعوانه وأنصاره والمستشهدين بين يديه اللهم احفظ علماءنا اللهم احفظ وأيد قائدنا وصل اللهم على محمد وآله الطاهرين الصلوات